Is normal general public people going off and doing starseed work or anything like that?
Absolutely, all the time, because we're multidimensional beings. We're operating avatars on every level of reality. That's how powerful we are. It is only a fraction of our consciousness that is animating this third dimensional avatar. The other 99% of our consciousness is also operating different avatars. So yes, when we sleep, we shift from one avatar to the next. Wow. And as far as like the normie or the non-starseed younger soul, you could say that because they are multidimensional as well, they don't really have much awareness of what's happening during their sleep. So they just see it as dreaming. But a lot of the starseeds, when they are actually sleeping, they're also doing a lot of interdimensional work, whether it's slaying reptilian Dracos or Archons, or whether they are conducting something as far as like the Galactic Federation is concerned. All that takes place when we sleep in our third dimensional body. Similar to the movie the Avatar, right? As soon as the body went to sleep, his consciousness shifts over to the next avatar. Well, it's in that same manner that we starseeds continue to do work in other dimensions while still operating down here on the Earth.
Wow. Yeah, my wife loves Avatar, and she's looking forward to seeing the next one.
Oh my God, yeah, I love it. I love the whole concept of it. I wish our world was as beautiful as that is.
That's what's
not
becoming.
The wars, but the actual, Avatar life.
I just want to interject, since we're talking about those of us that are more aware that we do these things. That's why going to sleep at night is such a powerful time to be intentional. The state of your beingness and the state of your intention, of thoughts, feelings, where you wish to traject your nightly experience is so important. It's so powerful. So like when you go to sleep at night, really get yourself into a positive state of feeling and a thought, maybe, even a vision, and go to sleep with an intention, because you add so much more to not only what you do out there, but in making it here, because it's being physicalized in the beingness of your body here. So sleep is such a big time to be intentional.
Yeah, Raven, do you have a dream world going on?
I wouldn't even call it dream world anymore. For, I'd say, about 8-10 years, I have witnessed a lot of dreams where I was in mental health because I thought I was nuts. Because I was dreaming about saving children from tunnels. I felt like I was always in the movie Saw and repeat, I can't watch any of those movies. I can't watch anything where anybody gets hurt, right? So I was trying to understand this, and then the more the veil was lifted, the more human trafficking I saw. I understood what I was actually witnessing. And then those dreams went away and they became more warrioristic instead of more like in fear, if you will. Like, because the fear is always attached with fight or flight from your 3D avatar of like, let me get out of here because something's going to eat me soon. Like, that's a normal response, right? So I couldn't really understand because I had those dreams of being in the Galactic Council, like on Star Wars. I couldn't understand where these things were all amalgamating until, like, again, like the Galactic Council stuff. It was when I watched the video of Ishmael's. It made sense of why I had to be placed in these circumstances. And probably in 2020, energetically in our city, I felt a lot of underground movement being deconstructed, like a lot of darkness being removed. But I also felt like I was energetically participating in that. And I do believe that people can't, or I shouldn't say can't, but we're stationed where we're supposed to be during the Great Awakening to help the spiritual energy become greater. So the more I want to get out of my city, it's like, no, you have this energetic work to participate in, to shift that in your dreams and then in your reality state. So I've woken up with in the last couple of years, there's a lot of bruises on my legs and arms, and I couldn't figure it out. But when you talk to other people, they do wake up with like battle wounds, I guess, if you will, from fighting in the middle of the night. So it's not like it doesn't scare me. And I think we're only allowed to be aware of things that don't completely throw us off of our vibration when we're in our regular consciousness. So if we were fighting like things that were against our, like that are going to drag our vibrations down. I haven't had a bad dream in 3 years. I haven't had a negative dream. I'm only having dreams about being on other planets or in these councils or something. And I could never figure out why I was seeing these things, but now I just realize that it's remote viewing, right? we're seeing ourselves being in other places. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's pretty interesting that where we go in our dreams, right? And I've always heard the different levels of dimensions you can go into, and all the way up to the 12th dimension or 144 or whatever they want to call it, the God, right, place. And I always was told that you go into your dreams to download what happened in your day and kind of bring it into that other realm, and then you come back. Sometimes you're woken up and you come back from a dream and you're like, what in the hell was that all about? Because it's nothing made sense. It doesn't seem, like that person was my best friend, but they didn't look like my best friend, but I knew it was my best friend, like those type of things. So you're seeing all these different things in the realm of dream state. And, obviously some people have a lot clearer vision of what they're doing in their dream state. They're even leaving their body, going into other people's houses and telling them what they have on their counter, so amazing things can happen in those dream states. Ismael, when did this start for you, going into these dreams and starting to travel and all that type of stuff?
As far as I remember, I was doing that at an early age. When I was 5 or 6, I was a kid, and I noticed that I was having lucid, vivid dreams. I couldn't distinguish if it was a reality or not. I mean, they were so real to me. And of course, after being told that that was of the devil, because I would try to be vocal about it with my aunts and my mother and my grandmother. My mother always supported me, though. My mother was she had these gifts and she was awake and she understood, but everybody else was telling me that that was not, there were just dreams and stuff. So I didn't really bother, I guess, examining them as much when I was from like the age of 6 to the age of 15, 16. But then at the age of 17, I started having, again, dreams about being part of the councils, these galactic councils. I started having dreams about other worlds. And that just kind of, I didn't know if they were just all made up in my mind. It was just my imagination, or if there was any truth to that. But it wasn't until I was maybe about 21 when I took it seriously, and when I realized that they were actually, realities that are taking place beyond this dimension. And that's when I knew, oh, there is more to life than just this realm. So dreaming to me is the way I do spiritual work as well. Most of my spiritual battles take place when this body's asleep.
Wow, that's amazing. And we had Sasha Stone on our show a couple days ago for our Rise Talk shows, and he talked about children, and he said, we program these children right out of the womb to be like us, and they just came from the other side. And they have all this amazing information. If you just let them grow and let them talk to you and let them look at them as something wise, you'll learn so much more before they're filtered down, before the program sets in. And it sounds like when you were having these dreams and you were, 6, 7 years old, if someone was there, you lived in a world where this was supported. Like, you're getting messages from the other side. This is amazing. Develop these skills. It would have been a whole different place, but you were told that this is the devil. This is not what you need to be doing. This is just dreams. Stop it. It made you feel crazy for a while until you could get to a point in your life where you're like, I can't ignore this anymore. This has to be some kind of message for me. So it's just the world that we live in, or lived in that three dimension that was always telling us to put the magic away. Get rid of that. That is not for you. And so it's amazing that now in this world right now, we can tell our kids, we can raise the kids to be able to do that kind of stuff, to take these gifts and make them something part of you, and make them really come out and do some amazing things in this world. Because think about the next generations of kids coming, these amazing, beings whatever you want to call them. They have names for them: indigo children and star seeds and all that type of stuff. Imagine the planet full of that now, and where we can go in this fifth dimension. Ishmael, you see some of the children out there being a little different, full of a little bit different kinds of spirit, awaken more?
Absolutely. So I am muting and unmuting because I know there's noise in the background. So absolutely. In fact, right now we're getting a huge influx of crystal children. Crystal children are children that are being born fully awakened with all their talents, all their skills, all their memories intact. And so that's what's happening right now. As we get ready to shift ages to go from Pisces into Aquarius, we're going to be seeing more of these kids incarnate now, because they are going to be able to reap the new earth. We're setting it up for them, but they're going to be able to be born into it. And so, yeah, they're called crystal children, or the Christ seeds, or crystal seeds. So there are different terminologies.
Wow, that's amazing. It sounds great. And Raven, you have interactions with the children. I know that you're doing a lot of things up in Canada there. Are you seeing some of the amazingness in the children coming up?
Of course. I just had a nephew be born last year. He's very special, lived for 94 days, was born with a cleft palate and some heart conditions. But he spoke to me the first day. I've never witnessed a baby so awake, so alert, so sinewy in his muscular system. And his mother is a very spiritually aligned human being. And so it was interesting because he taught me a lot in his short life. But the amount of conversation that happened between him and I'd go to pray for him. Like, he'd be going for surgery. Don't worry about me, Auntie. I got it under control. He would literally come back and feed me information that he was helping other people, like in the hospital. So he had a very specific job to do, and he did it while he was here. And that transformation of his 3D, he was always a Christ consciousness child. Like, it was amazing. He was born at 11:14 and he died at 11:44 when the parents were watching Neo escape in the Matrix. Like, it was just, they never watched movies, but it just, the synchronistic time of when he passed was, and even the pictures of the ceremony that was done, he wasn't a child that was registered in the system either. So he never had a birth certificate. He was the only child I knew that was out of the Matrix completely. So the parents were able to do this beautiful ceremony. They took a picture of the mountains after. There was 4 white or like goldeny green orbs in one. Like how that's magic to me. And that was proof that we are already in a heaven on earth in some ways, because we're leaving those painful, trauma-ridden bodies behind on some form. And I know I will see my nephew in another form. He keeps coming to me and saying, you wait, Auntie, you wait and see how magical this is. So I trust in those messages of him being a crystal child and of Christ consciousness, and here to impart wisdom in his short time on planet Earth. So yeah, I totally. And when I see kids now, I'm an art teacher. I ask them occasionally, like, do you have dreams of flying? Do you have dreams of running really fast? Like, do you have dreams of superpowers? Or do you talk to other people? And yeah, it's amazing what kids will tell you. They're so aware and they're so awake. And I'm grateful for those encounters that I have with children. It's really quite magical. So yeah, mine are all grown up. They're already programmed.
They're already programmed, yeah.
So yeah, but yeah, it's great.
Yeah, I know. I've seen, like, with my son, at an early age, I instilled meditation in him. I used to do role playing, where I would be an ancient Japanese teacher, and I would teach him the ways of the warrior and stuff like that. And through that kind of teaching and storytelling, he really, really got it, and he really enjoyed and absorbed it. And now, at 13 years old, he's just such an amazing, talented, balanced person. And people who meet him, adults who meet him, think that he's like 30 or something, because he's so mature beyond his age. And it's very interesting to see all these, like, personalities in different ways. And Victoria has an 11-year-old who is ADHD and defiance disorder and all this type of things, but really he's just in the wrong environment. He needs to be leading the avatar in, the group into the woods and climbing trees and swinging and just doing things. He's just so bored in life, going through this regular school indoctrination, and then you can't do this, you can't do that, go to sleep, So he just wants to be this warrior, and so you see that in a lot of these children being, in these prisons, so to speak, of wanting to bring that personality out, but being dampered down immediately. That is not the way we behave, And so hopefully in this new earth, we will allow freedom in this way of learning and growing and achieving and expanding in such a way that it's not this caged person, caged animal that just wants to get out and do things and grow. These children are so talented and gifted, and they just need to unleash those superpowers, as you said, Raven, those superpowers that they know they have. And we're not allowing that. And so I'm looking forward to that kind of world. Jaron, you want to comment on any of that stuff?
Sorry, I'm muting myself too. Well, in regards to that, I have to say this. I am very grateful, as everyone has heard, and my mother's birthday was yesterday, so happy birthday. I was very blessed to have a mother that instilled creativity and the freedom in the multidimensional reality at a young age. And it really allowed less limitations within my belief of myself and what I was capable of experiencing in this world. And so my point in saying this is, all you parents out there, I'm not. All you parents out there, and whatever the age of the child is, always in that moment to see the kid authentically, who they really are, and, instill inspiration and possibility in them, and so right now we don't have to go in the past of what the problem is or what was done then. Just in the moment, show up, and in the moment, shine a light on them, because they are listening and they do look up to you, and they will believe in themselves more as you do that.
Yeah, and Victoria, you want to comment on any of your children or my children, or how, the new earth you would love to see how children get treated?
Yeah, I don't know. There's a difference in every child. Everybody has their own personality and are brought up different. I always bring up, nature versus nurture. It makes a huge difference on the way they become and who they become. You, with your child, haven't been as limited as I am with mine, which also makes a huge difference when it comes to raising your children the way you want them to be. When there's a belief in two different lights in your child's life, it becomes conflicting and confusing. So you have to try to prevent that while also guiding them in the right direction and helping them make the right choices, the direction that you want to go. But is it about you or is it about them? So I guess you have to, figure out who they are and what they want to be, and just encourage them to find that within themselves. I would love for, more freedom with our children, not this forced education system. More life teachings than math and history and English. Is it important? Absolutely, but not to the extent that they are teaching them. They need more life experiences that we lacked growing up. And then you hit adulthood and you're like smacked in the face, like, whoa, like I was not ready for any of this. And even my kids kind of have the mentality that I had growing up, like, why do I need this? How is this going to help me in the future? But it's forced upon us. It's an education that we need to teach our children. If we don't, then we suffer the consequences and blah, blah. So I think we just need to figure out a way away from that structure that they no longer need.
Well, what do you think about galactic school systems?
To what extent?
You bring them to Star Wars. Ishmael.
Are we introducing them to aliens?
Ishmael, have you
I don't think they're ready
met
for that.
some children galactically? And how are they?
I have actually on my book tour. I think it was a week ago in the city of. I think I was in Texas. Yeah, I was in Texas, Austin, Texas, and this family came in with their children, and they are all fans of me. There was a 10-year-old, an 8-year-old, and a 7-year-old, and they listen to my material and they understand it. And one of the child, I think it was a 10-year-old, was telling me about his superpowers.
That's so
and
cool.
then the 7-year-old was also telling me about his experiences and how he knows that that they are not from this world. He doesn't necessarily call himself an alien. He calls himself what did he call himself? He used the word. He says he's he says he's one of the Watchers or something like that. I think he said Watcher. I'm not sure. But these kids are already awakened. These kids are already in the galactic mentality. And when I was able to interact with these kids at my book signing in Texas, that was something unique for me. I've never had an opportunity to speak to kids on this level where they're already there. So that was kind of cool, meeting other children that are aware of things, that know about the Matrix and know themselves as higher dimensional beings in human form. I guess that was to me, that was awesome to meet kids that could talk about this stuff. And so I had an opportunity to meet a few kids that were very in tune and very awakened and very aware, who could actually grasp and understand my material. And that was awesome.
Wow, and you can see the genuine smile on your face when you talk about it, because it is something amazing that happens when you see these young people that are, on your level some ways. You're like, whoa, where's this coming from? Wow, and it's just amazing to see that they're that awake and aware. So awesome stuff there.
Was.
Yeah.
And I think one of them gave me, two of those kids gave me a gift. They gave me a few Pokemon cards as a gift to me.
Oh,
I'm
that's
like,
awesome.
I'll take it.
Yeah, fantastic. What we're going to do is we're going to go into my Greg Schumacher experience. So if you want to mute yourself in the background, Ishmael, and then when we come back, we're going to do some more galactic talk and maybe answer one more question. It's an interesting one, so we'll see how that goes. All right, here we go. Greg Schumacher experience. Sorry, that was a little long there, but you got the point there. Again, Hollywood, right? These storytelling, human beings and storytelling around campfires and as our ancestors used to do, and tell stories to bring lessons into us. And that's what the movies do as well. And that one taught us, this idea behind, falling in life. And a lot of us stay down. We don't know how to get back up. And we need that good network around us. We need our family of light around us to help pick us back up and to say, let's get going. You got it in you. I know you do. But you just need that extra confidence. And then the idea of the impossible climb, right? We feel like sometimes in life it's an impossible climb, that we keep on falling, things don't work out right. But if we are ready, we are determined, we're going to really find our way forward and be able to do this together, especially. So in this idea behind falling in life, Raven, I'm going to start with you first. When you fall, when things don't go right, how do you get yourself back up? How do you pick yourself back up and get going again?
For me personally, I always have to just go outside if I have a huge issue that is going on. There's been a few transitions in my life in the last little bit. So I always find like if I'm not going out and walking and connecting with nature and getting back to a more balanced vibration, I can't even think about the situation of what I deem fall. Like, I'm a person who is very fluid. I'm an adaptable person, so I am probably one of the most adaptable. Most people would call me a gypsy bohemian person. I'm living out of my suitcase right now. So many people would deem that as a fall, like, oh, you're homeless, or it's not necessarily that. It's where people think the vibration should fall on. Like, for me, it's freedom. But other people see it as, oh my gosh, you don't have your own bed to sleep in, or what have you, Well, it really, to me, I don't know, it is the freedom of where you're engaging your thoughts constantly. That's how I get out of a personal fall, and for me, it's a lot of, I have to talk about it, at least once or twice, just to tell the story of what I think my perception was. And then once that's been digested and I feel the emotion that came with whatever it was, I try and detach from it after that, because I try not to take anything personally. Everything just as is as it should be. And I mean, if I followed along with what people thought of me and they deemed I fell many times in this past couple of years, where I'm like, I'm my own hero, it's your own perception. So to me, what one person would deem as a fall, me, it's just a throw in my river, a rock in my river, and I just work my way around it somehow. But I always have to connect with nature on some level before I can, I try not to answer anything out of anger, even when there's a misunderstanding. I usually have to disconnect from that for a little while, because I don't want the emotions to, I'm more of a, I don't know, you know what I'm saying? I try and detach from getting into a further situation of negative energy. So I kind of I'm better about putting up boundaries, because of all the psychic attacks, and I know Ishmael gets them a lot too, and on the platforming levels even, of us not being heard, those would be considered falls. But to me, everybody is where they should be, I guess, and energetically working out their own stuff to get over their falls. So I can't get in everybody's swimming pool of emotion, because that's not focusing on heaven on earth. That's all. I'm trying to reprogram myself every day by just manifesting whatever I can for freedom, health, and equality for all, and peace on earth. If you have to play the Imagine song by John Lennon 100 times, go do it. Whatever changes your vibration to get you out of that fall. But that's normally what I try and do in the last few years. I try not to be attached energetically to whatever somebody else is projecting, because that's not my story of my projection. And my whole life, I've always been a way more positive person than most people. They're like, oh, you had all that trauma. Why aren't you so more depressed? Well, then you let the darkness win. Why would I? That's not being a warrior of even your own vibration in your own meat suit, And so that's kind of like, I'm trying more and more to be in check and more realistic with my own healing, with my own boundaries, because I feel like if I do that, then it's just going to be easier to attract all the people that are there with us rising, right? So yeah, I don't try and swim in the poop pools too long, or even whatever negative vibrations, because I think that's not doing work. That's, you're spiritually bypassing and gaslighting yourself,
Yeah, I too, when I have an issue, when there's anger in me or any kind of emotional charge, I try to step back from that and allow it to dissipate a little bit, and then answer, or then figure out my answer, because you get in trouble with those instant reactions to things, and that's just not the way to go usually.
And we're all guilty of it, but we're
Absolutely.
all learning to undo the programming.
Yeah.
It's about undoing the programs of being less than, because let's face it, all of the things that we're fearful of is because somebody stole something from us. We've been ripped off of time, money, effort, friends, whatever, through disease, whatever it is. And so that fear of having more loss is always in the back of their mind, instead of reprogramming it to say, hey, we are abundant. We have everything we need, going back to it's right in front of us. So if we sit and mire in the illusion of the past having some sort of validity, when if we just focus on the future and changing our present state of mind, it does make the past seem not trivial, but just the lesson for what it was and the energetic shift.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Jaron, your take on falling in life and how you pick yourself back up.
All right, I'll make this quick before we can pass this on to Ismael's view as well. I just want to say that every moment is new. That's the only thing that actually exists. So whatever we need to do to get the energy out, like Greg is mentioning, and clear it out so you don't react. Clear it out so you're not over exaggerating it. Get back into that still point. Aside from that, it's learning. And the contrast teaches you more than anything. So a negative experience of any kind can cause immense quantum leaps through the internal embodiment of who you are now and what you would do differently, or what you choose to go towards in a different light. Maybe this isn't the avenue I want to be on, or maybe this isn't who I want to be around, let alone your own, personal mistakes, let's call it, whatnot. So I think the masters learn to move on sooner. They get back into the moment. You become neutral, and you can look at the past and gain from it, and then really charge your life forward and look at it as an opportunity. Maybe a negative experience in 1 week can set your life forward 9 months because you learned it, you transmuted it inside of yourself, you believe differently, you intend it differently, and then you act differently. So there's, but we have to get away from the parasite of the ego and collective ego, which is also around perfectionism. You can't be perfect, and it's only you that's living your own life. You have people that you meet here and there and you share time with, but the reality is you're the only one that's living your life moment to moment, and you can only be the best that you can be, and you can only grow with what you have and what you know and what you can do forward.
Yeah, and Ismael, maybe you are the Cape Crusader. I mean, you got the muscles for it, but yeah, what do you say to people, yourself, even when you fall, when things are getting tough? How do you rise back up?
Well, the first thing to understand is that we live in a universe that rises and falls. Even the universe at a micro level of reality is constantly expanding and contracting, and that's just the way we grow. Without opposition, without the contrast, as my brother Jared said, there is no spiritual growth. In fact, one of the reasons why our prime creator source, the oneness of everything that is, decided to, one of the reasons why, it created, or it decided to explore in duality, is because it was bored, it was stagnant, it had no opposition. So without the opposition, without the contrast, without the challenges, there is no growth. So there are two types of people on this earth. There's those that are seeing things as things are happening to me, and then there's those that are seeing things as things are happening for me. So based on how mature and how spiritually enlightened you are, you're probably going to fall in the second category, where you see every obstacle, every fall as a greater, as a way to rise even higher. Does that make sense? Because things are happening not against you, but for you, because of you. Because the whole purpose of everything in existence, whether it's at a micro level or us, individualized level, is growth. And without opposition, without these falls, there is no growth. And so to me, I take them as opportunities to rise up even higher. Because every time there is a fall, every time there is something, a hurdle, anything, a monkey wrench thrown in your way, it is yourself, because you are the universe, letting you know you have to grow, you have to get stronger, you have to rise higher. And that's just the way I've always seen things. So, I embrace it all. I don't see it as a negative thing.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And when you have that point of view, when you have that perspective, it certainly helps catapult you in life, because you're looking for the positive out of the negative, which is such a good place to be. You just excel yourself forward without those roadblocks, because people constantly, emotional roadblocks especially, right? Boom, they just hit this wall, and then it feels like they're going 20 years back in time, right? And they're just in this mess of a life, and everything goes bad, and I just blah blah blah. And so you tell yourself the story, and it's going to happen. You're creating it. So yes, that idea of look at the obstacles as the universe is giving them to you on purpose to get you to catapult and expand forward, and that's an amazing way to look at it. Ismael, let's talk a little bit about the species out there in the galaxy, the different types. What's one of your favorite types of species out there in the galactic field?
I like the felines. The feline people. They're hominid from the neck down. They stand like we do. They have arms, legs, bipedal on land, but they have the face of a lion. Different types of lions. Those are my favorite beings because they're the most compassionate beings that I've ever encountered, and that explains why they were pretty much the beings that were kind of like the custodians of the early humans in Lyra. They were the ones that were seeing the development of the early human, and in that regard, it seems like they have always been our guardians. But I also like the bird people. The bird people are pretty awesome. There's different types of bird peoples. Most people are familiar with the blue avians. There's another category of bird people called the Carians, Carians, and those are really advanced. They were instrumental in the development of the different stargates and wormholes in our galaxy. So what happens is every time a new universe is born, you could say there is a group of felines and a group of bird people that participate in the development of the biological specimens, or in the development of the different stargates that connect everything from one point of the galaxy to the next, or one point of the universe to the next. And so to me, those are my favorite because they operate from a high level of reality. I think they operate from the 13th and 14th dimension. And so what they do is they raise or they decrease their vibrational frequency in order to pop into a lower reality so that they could help Prime Creator Source in the development of new worlds and new systems. But above all, I think every species has a unique traits. As many types of humanoid species that exist, there's an infinite number of humanoids, and they all vary slightly. Some of them have spiky ears. Some of them are like what we see in these movies, like the Avatar. They have like different things like painting on their face, but they're still human-like. The only species I guess I would say are not pleasant to look at are the insectoids, the greys, and some of these hideous-looking creatures that have sided with the Draco. But other than that, I believe that all the species out there are beautiful in their own way. The cetaceans, which are the dolphin, whale-like people, various types of mammalian-like type of species. They're all beautiful in their own way, and they all have a frequency and an energy to contribute to the universe. And so, but above all, I like the felines. The felines are definitely my favorite.
Wow. Pretty interesting, all those different types out there. And, do you see that any of them have a culture like ours where there's a lot of this fighting and a lot of very, very big duality, polarity? Do you see that in any of those cultures, or are we kind of this cesspool here?
No. The benevolent extraterrestrial races are all very spiritually advanced. Yeah, they don't. In fact, they've been waiting for us to spiritually mature. So I think we're like the only species in our universe that is still very warlike. Very primitive in that sense.
That's amazing that we're one of the last in the galaxy here that need to wise up here and get it going. But hopefully this is our time right now. We are starting to go forward. We're getting together. We're doing all this work here for everybody out there and trying to awaken as many starseeds and general public people as possible to get this momentum and movement going. Raven, are you close? Do you think we're close here? Are we getting really close?
I do think we are getting closer. With every bit of information that comes out in the 3D world on mainstream media, it awakens people's consciousness, whether they believe it or not. They're like, oh, that is true, whereas we were told it wasn't true. So there's a lot of, right now, people going through their awakening with information where it's not a conspiracy theory anymore. And it's slowly, like, I can see it with my own family, and I can see it with just other people in the street. Like, we're talking about children. 2 14-year-old boys came up at the last rally, and they could have been 50-year-old men. Like, they have a knowledge base that was incredible. And so I think we are closer because even those 14-year-old boys knew that the news was garbage. Like, they knew that there was corruption. They know that these things are going on. And like I said, these are 14-year-old kids. So what is that telling us for the rest? Well, it gives me a lot of hope, because it is like we're going to reach a precipice of the collective consciousness where the gig's up, and then we go through this truth vibration. Everybody's got to get their own truth in the 4D, movie of truth. I like to say the frequencies. And once our bodies have accepted a lot of those truths and aren't rejecting or swimming in those negative vibrations, it will catapult. Like, it's just like a big tidal wave, if you will, of energy shifting. It's like it'll be all of a sudden, I think. And we are close to that, because just like I said, at the beginning of the show, when we were talking about, would we know heaven and hell on this earth? Like, if you're manifesting heaven, you're going to see heaven, So I think we're getting more close, because the division, the reality of the division that was forced upon humanity is being shed. However that looks, whether it's through all this dirty money tied to corruption, whether it's however that looks for people, the gig is up between the old money system and the new money system to some reality. So that will again shift people, like, out of their consciousness into a higher vibration. I think they'll see that there's more love and there's more things, there's better things coming, the more people that are co-creating that and sharing that experience. So yeah,
certainly,
I think we're very close.
Certainly money is huge to people across the planet, and as that crumbles, and if there's something that happens where it's like a reset, right, of how we do things, it will change the way people view things, for sure, because we've been slaves to money for a very, very long time.
And just to talk about it quickly, when I was in Ottawa, I talked about the freedom of the new system, and versus I like to see people's consciousness change right in front of you and throw their arms around. No taxes, debt forgiveness? Like, I don't think people realize the slavery, and they're just started seeing it. So we need to see big things crumble right now to change that consciousness, because those lower vibrations of anything below the heart line of greed, lust, whatever, fear, shame, those will be shed when we all come together to rise to protect children. That's what's going to change the consciousness. It won't be about the money. The money will start it, but when they realize the money is tied to human trafficking, then they'll be like, what in the... No. That's where it's going to change the consciousness. They have to see the reality of where the money went. That's, I think, why we're so close, because this FTX, when they're offering up Epstein's flight log instead of telling you where FTX money is, crap is about to get a little bit more real for people in that 3D matrix. So,
Absolutely. Yeah.
I'm waiting for it.
Jaron, you think we're close here, buddy? And, what's going on with the awakening on the planet?
Oh yeah, the weather's changing. If it's going to rain, it's going to rain. How much can you stop it? Well, you can. You have the capability, but probably most of us aren't there yet to be able to do that. So if it's raining, we're going to get wet, right? There's the weather. Then it clears out. Well, the weather's here. We've reached a place in space, and we're at that time where it's causing things to change. And I'm grateful to be at this moment, regardless of what's going on in stories around us or this or that, the contrast of things. People are awakening, and I measure, and I would ask people out there to measure your ascension with your own personal experience. What are you doing individually? Where are you at? And are you pursuing your purpose? Are you pursuing your dreams? Are you pursuing your sovereignty? Clear off the darkness, enlighten yourself more, bring more light into your body. And when you do little practices like raise your vibration and get your perception correct before you run into somebody else, you'll notice they act differently than if you were in a down state. So is it them or is it you? Right? So your own measure, your own beingness, and then giving your all when you're in that moment with whatever's around you and shining your light and pursuing your light. And that's really where it's going. This collective ascension is a result of all of our individual ascension processes. You're in your own movie waking up, so you might as well star in it. You might as well love in it. You might as well give in it. And you might as well have your attention on it as much as you can, because that's how you make the change in the age of Aquarius, by sharing the information equally, the higher mind, not by fighting it and not by saving, which is the old negative of the Piscean. We're serving, not saving. And you give everyone the free will of their choice, but you shine your light. And so that's kind of where I go with things, and looking at the barometer of where are my dreams coming true, and am I growing into the being I wish to be, and is my attention on the things that bring me that love and lust and joy and service or whatnot. And we're right there. And in a wink of an eye, many of us, our body will turn to light, and we will be these light beings, these human angels, beyond even what we see ourselves as now. And that's arriving to its time as well. And that's dependent upon our own inner vibration and what we choose to engage it with. And that's where we're really going.
Yeah, and Ismael, you look at it in a galactic way as well, but you see the journey happening very quickly, that we're going to be shifting into this new way of living, and also, you know, from the galactic point of view, like what's going on up there, and are they seeing that shift?
Absolutely, yes, because we're ending all these different cycles. So as far as like the Fibonacci ratio, the golden means is concerned, we are at the end. We are at that point where it's going to hit critical mass and 0 point. So it's here. You know, it's here. We're going to live to see it very, very soon. And just like my brother Jared said, you know, we are going to become these beautiful light body angelic beings. And that is what the Galactics have been waiting for. You know, the entire cosmos is actually here observing how it all goes down, because, you know, this is an event that many are going to be witnessing. So yeah, I believe we're there. We're so close. We're like at the finish line.
That's awesome to hear. Amazing stuff. Ishmael, I appreciate you coming on. I know you probably got to run now, but I appreciate you coming on. I don't know if everybody else wants to stick around for the Sunshine News. Raven, can you stick around?
Are we still
I surely can. I just wanted to tell the audience something interesting that I had shared with you before the show. So Trump's podium said faith and freedom on it. And I always go put these things in gematria just to see. Giant red wave, the finish line, and Ismael Perez came up.
Look at that, Ishmael. You were in gematria.
You're in the gematria.
That's amazing. Wow.
Tom told me that you guys are familiar with Tom numbers.
Yep.
Okay, he told me that me and Trump have the same gematria. I was like blown away when he said that.
I believe it. I'll have to figure. Did he do your life path number? And I know it's your name gematria, but I'll get your life path number, and I'll see if that's the same too.
Chẳng được quên khi cơn mưa đêm lại về. Em đã quên lời thề và ta như đông chìm sâu. Không còn mới em anh nhận màu. Em chỉ cần mơ đâu bye. Chỉ còn là những cơn mưa vô giá. Cho bên mơ em không mơ ai nhẹ. Anh một đêm mơ chỉ cho bên em không được còn nhớ. Và chỉ có em không còn nhớ. Và người ta bên nhau như ngã tớ. Muốn nhớ về say em chỉ có mấy em ở đây. Và anh như muốn chết đi nhưng không muốn em mơ mày. Tình yêu làm cho ta đau đầu. Không em như mà mơ mộng. Anh như đang mong cầu. Và mưa bên em hôn sầu. Chắc có qua mai để mà mơ. Chỉ có bên em nhưng là khó mơ. Em vẫn đang sai em muốn bên ai anh không mong gì hơn, chỉ mong em sẽ ở đây ôm anh thật gần. Anh chỉ mong đôi ta được có nhau, mà đừng em đâu anh có em, mỗi đêm bên anh có em. Ta sẽ trao nhau môi hôn thật sâu, ôm anh.
Welcome to my party, we're just getting started. A life is a dream or a nightmare scarring. Hand me a drink cause I think I'm going all in. Get me a shrink who can catch me when I'm falling. Cover up my scars, flip the handlebars, crashing in my car, wake up in a bar. I'll be a superstar, just on my avatar. This world is so bizarre, empty out the reservoir. Yeah,
I'm taking 6 shots, yeah, straight to the face. And I wanna get lost, I'm sick of this place. Don't know how to stop when I'm feeling this way. So I'm taking 6 shots till I'm feeling okay. I think I'm going crazy, don't think I'll get home safe. So I'm taking 6 shots, all straight to the face. I'm taking 6 shots, are you coming with me?
I'm taking 6 shots, yeah, straight to the face. And I wanna get lost, I'm sick of this place. Don't know how to stop when I'm feeling this way. So I'm taking 6 shots till I'm feeling okay. I think I'm going crazy, don't think I'll get home safe. So I'm taking 6 shots, all straight to the face. I'm taking 6 shots, are you coming with me? Sometimes you need to let loose, grab juice, get goose, tattoos, taboos, get screwed. Loosen up, buttercup, all those hate comments will never make you feel enough. We're all adequate graduates, heart full of calluses, but we know calculus. Damn, ain't that fabulous? Can't wait to apply all those mathematicus. But we can't.
yeah.